The sun rises without ceremony over the savanna, lifting a thin veil of cool air from the ground and revealing a landscape shaped less by borders than by time. This land has never learned to forget. Its grasses bend as they have for tens of thousands of years. Its acacia trees cast the same fractured shadows they cast when the first human footsteps pressed into this soil. Here, near the shallow bends of a seasonal lake in what is now called East Africa, survival has never been a theory. It has always been a practice, repeated daily, refined by loss, preserved by memory, carried not in books but in bodies. The Hadzabe move quietly through this terrain, not as visitors but as a continuation. Their presence does not interrupt the land, it aligns with it. Each step is placed with care, not from fear alone, but from attention sharpened across generations. Feet know where thorns hide beneath dust. Eyes read the faint language of disturbed grass, bent stems, a feather lying where it should not. These signs are not interpreted as symbols, they are understood as facts. Life has passed here recently. It may return. Hunting begins long before a weapon is raised. It begins with restraint. Food is never assumed. The morning carries no promise. There are days when the land gives little and days when it gives too much, forcing decisions that echo long after the kill. Meat is not abundance, it is responsibility. It must be taken, carried, divided, and remembered. The Hadzabe hunt not as individuals seeking triumph, but as bodies shaped by necessity. Their bows are modest in length, carved from local wood, their strings drawn tight with sinew. Arrows are tipped with a mixture of plant-based poison and iron, a technology both ancient and precise. Each arrow carries knowledge older than the names now used to describe it. Each draw of the bow repeats a movement that predates agriculture, predates metalworking, predates the first permanent walls. On this day, the hunt moves closer to water. The dry season has narrowed the lake's edge, concentrating life into smaller spaces. Animals come here because they must. Hunters follow for the same reason. Tracks overlap. Antelope paths cross those of birds and predators. The mud holds stories written overnight, and the Hadzabe read them in silence. Water changes everything. Near it, the land softens, sound carries differently. The open savanna tightens into reeds and low trees, and the sense of exposure deepens. Near water, humans are no longer the most dangerous presence. They become careful again, as they once were when survival meant knowing when not to advance. Hippos live here. They are not hunted, they are endured. The hippopotamus does not resemble a predator, yet it claims more human lives than any animal in this region. Its size suggests slowness, but this is a deception shaped by distance. In water, it moves with ease. On land, it charges with speed that erases hesitation. Its territory is not marked by sound or scent alone, but by an invisible boundary learned through loss. To cross it unknowingly is to invite consequences that arrive without warning. The Hadzabe know this. Stories are passed quietly, often without drama. A cousin who did not return, a hunter who turned back just in time, a place where reeds should never be entered at dusk. These are not legends, they are coordinates of danger etched into collective memory. Yet water draws prey close, and hunger narrows options. The hunters fan out slightly, spacing themselves to watch different angles of the shoreline. Their movement slows. The sound of breathing becomes noticeable, then controlled. A bird lifts suddenly from the reeds. Muscles tighten. Nothing follows. The decision to hunt here is not reckless. It is measured against empty stomachs and the knowledge that tomorrow may be worse. This is how risk enters human history, not as bravado, but as calculation shaped by need. An antelope has come to drink. Its head lowers, ears alert, body tense. The hunters freeze. One steps forward, barely shifting weight, testing the ground before committing. The bow rises, the arrow drawn. Time compresses into a narrow corridor where nothing else exists. The shot is clean. The arrow strikes behind the shoulder. The antelope bolts, then stumbles, its run shortening as poison begins its work. The hunters follow at a distance, careful not to rush. This is not a chase driven by excitement. It is an escort toward inevitability. As they move, the lake remains close, too close. The antelope collapses near the water's edge, its body shuddering, breath slowing. The hunters approach cautiously, eyes scanning beyond the animal, beyond the immediate reward. Death attracts attention. Blood carries scent across water. The lake is still. Reeds sway slightly. The surface reflects the sky, broken only by small ripples that mean nothing until they mean everything. One hunter pauses. His posture changes. He does not speak, but the others notice. A line of tension moves through the group. The silence deepens. A shape shifts beneath the surface. The hippopotamus rises without sound, its massive head breaking the water like a sudden continent. Eyes fixed, mouth closed. It does not roar. It does not threaten. It simply faces them. This is the moment where deep time presses against the present. The hunters do not run. They do not shout. Their bodies already know what to do. Movement slows further, as if speed itself would provoke disaster. The antelope lies between them and the water, suddenly insignificant. Meat can be replaced. Life cannot. The hippo steps forward, water sliding from its skin. Its size is no longer abstract. It fills the space, dominates it. The distance between them collapses with terrifying speed, not because the animal advances, but because reality does. Here, every choice matters. Retreating too fast could trigger pursuit. Standing too long could be read as challenge. This is not a contest of strength. It is a negotiation conducted in instinct and memory. One hunter shifts sideways, creating space. Another mirrors the movement. Slowly, without turning their backs, they begin to widen the gap between themselves and the water. The antelope is abandoned. No signal is given. Agreement passes without words. The hippo watches. Its jaw opens slightly, revealing tusks shaped not for tearing, but for crushing. The ground feels suddenly fragile beneath human feet. Then the animal stops. It snorts once, a sharp exhalation that carries both warning and dismissal. The hunters continue their retreat until the reeds thicken between them and the lake. Only then do they turn away, hearts pounding, breaths shallow, bodies alive with the echo of what nearly occurred. They do not speak of it immediately. Speech comes later, when danger has fully receded. For now, the encounter is absorbed into the body, added to a growing archive of moments that will shape future decisions. The hunt has failed, yet survival has not. As they walk back through the savannah empty-handed, the significance of what occurred extends beyond this day. Encounters like this have shaped human behavior since before memory could be stored in language. They taught early humans where not to settle, when not to press advantage, how to read signs that exist only briefly before vanishing. Rivers and lakes offered water and food, but they also concentrated risk. Early camps were placed just far enough away. Paths were chosen that curved instead of cutting straight. Children learned not through instruction, but through observation of tension in adult bodies, through the way conversations stopped near certain places. This is how landscapes became mapped with caution. The Hadzabe carry this inheritance without naming it. Their knowledge does not separate past from present. It folds time into practice. The same instincts that once guided early Homo sapiens along the edges of African waterways remain active here, refined but unchanged in purpose. The abandoned antelope will not be wasted. Scavengers will find it. The land will reclaim what was briefly taken. Loss feeds other lives. This too is understood. As evening approaches, the hunters return to their camp. The fire will be smaller tonight. Meals will be shared more carefully. No complaint follows. Hunger is familiar. Survival has never promised comfort. Later, when darkness settles and the sounds of insects rise, the encounter may be mentioned, not dramatically, perhaps with a gesture toward the lake, perhaps with a pause where others nod. The story will not grow larger with retelling. It does not need to. Its power lies in accuracy. Somewhere in the retelling, a younger listener will absorb a detail without realizing it, a place to avoid, a way to step back, a moment when restraint preserved life. This is how culture persists when writing does not. Across millennia, similar moments have guided human movement. They influenced which valleys filled with villages and which remained empty. They shaped myths about water spirits and monsters, not as fantasy, but as memory encoded in cautionary form. They contributed to the slow recognition that humans, though capable of cooperation and tool-making, were never exempt from the rules of larger bodies and older forces. The hippopotamus returns to the water. The lake resumes its surface calm. Nothing marks the encounter except disturbed mud that will soon smooth over. By morning, the signs will be gone. Yet something remains. In the quiet space between hunger and safety, between risk and retreat, human behavior continues to evolve, not toward domination, but toward understanding limits. This understanding did not arise from philosophy or planning. It arose from moments like this, when survival depended on knowing when to stop. The land does not reward those who forget this. As night deepens, the stars appear, unchanged in their arrangement, indifferent to the small dramas beneath them. The Hadzabe sleep with the knowledge that tomorrow will require the same attention, the same humility. The lake will still be there. The hippos will still claim it. Hunger will return. And so will the decision.